why are we doing Immigration Week? Why are we devoting time? We partnered up with ABC 15, and we're giving you what has been branded as 48 hours at the border, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why are we doing it? What's your thought, Joe? Why are we doing this? I have some thoughts, and I want to be honest with the audience as well.
To me, it's to, gosh, I feel hokey when I say it, but try to present an unbiased view, try to learn something, and actually inform people about, here's the truth about what's going on down there.
All right. Do you think it's possible to be unbiased?
I think you can present multiple sides to a story.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think perfection is necessarily attainable, but I like that we're gonna give it our best go here.
Yeah, I would like to think we can present more than just one side, more than just two sides at times, and we can present that, as you laid out, going over, safety, national security, humanitarian need, race, economic impact, the legal aspects, culture. The border is complicated. It doesn't just come down to one thing, and too often. Right before we went to break right there, we were listening to this piece from Jim Cross where he went down to the border with our video producer, Felisa, and you pointed out that this rancher said that this is all due to one person and the cartel, or one group and the cartel.
Yeah, he said, Cross said, who do we blame? And he said, it comes down to the cartel.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to the cartels.
And look, I'm the first one to raise my hand and say, my parents took me to Mexico once as a little kid for a couple days, but I haven't spent any time at the border to study it. And even if you have, I don't think you can learn all of it in one trip, 5 trips, 10 trips. But what I am confident in saying, in just summing it down to one person or one group of individuals, that to me oversimplifies it. I think
that's
it's
fair.
A very complicated issue.
But what I liked about what the rancher had to say is that when he said he blamed the cartels,
sure,
I thought, if not for the cartels, how much of a controversy, how much of an issue would there be with the border? For instance, people coming across are claiming asylum.
Mm-hmm.
From what?
Could be any number of things. Obviously, fear of gangs, gang violence, religious persecution. Lots of different things.
Okay, so let's set religious persecution aside for a moment. But so many of the gangs are cartel affiliates.
Some, yeah.
And if they're not, listen.
Some,
sure. I don't think there's any gang operating south of the U.S. border that the cartel doesn't have input on. Mm-hmm. Because if there is a gang operating, if there is a gang that's claimed territory, there is a cartel that has decided either to allow that or to stop it.
I think that is fair.
All right. So when we say gangs, cartels are over that. Mm-hmm. Even governments, cartels are over that. I would even go so far as to bring back your argument about religious persecution and say even religion, cartels are over that.
And I think in many cases you're right, especially if you want to talk about South America and what's going on there. But if we're going to talk about migrants coming all the way from, China, the Congo, places like that.
Okay, fair. Mm-hmm.
That, to me, doesn't seem like the cartel so much.
No, true. But I think the number of people coming from those other countries, which I think is always much smaller.
Yeah,
so if not
grant you that.
Would it even be a conversation? Because I think those same people are the ones maybe trying to get across the northern border as well that we don't even hear about. So that's why I wonder if there's more to it when he talks about that cartel. So here is my why. If we were to ask why are we devoting time to this, and if we're being honest, straight up, bosses hate when I say this. I've never been a place where the boss is like, thanks for being so honest.
Oh, great. Are you going to get us in trouble?
Probably.
Oh, it's been 5 weeks. Nice knowing you.
Every day I get out of bed, every day I put on my shoes and socks and I come to work for one reason, and that is to put food on the table. That's it. So why are we doing it? We're doing it because it's our job. It's a business. Mm-hmm. But that's also why we tackle the big issues. So maybe the real question should not be, like, hey, why are you guys doing this? Because we talk about the big issues. Because that's our jobs, right? Why is it such a good talker? Why is the border such a big issue? And I guess for me, it comes down to the fear and the greed that we discussed before, the carrot and the stick. I'm not talking about people trying to cross the border. I'm talking about the issue itself. Why is this issue so
politically charged?
Yeah,
emotionally charged.
Emotionally charged, yeah. And I think again that fear and the greed. Again, we've talked about this before, and you'll hear me talk about it lots of times because I think about this often. Humans are motivated by 2 emotions: fear and greed. Okay. All animals are motivated by 2 emotions: fear and greed. And there's good reasons when we talk about the border for both. You're afraid for your individual or your community safety. You're afraid for our national security. You're afraid of our tax dollars being swallowed up by services.
A lot of those points that you brought up.
Definitely.
Safety, national security.
Yeah. And
economic impact.
From a political standpoint, you are afraid that the other side will win the argument. There is a competitive nature to it, right?
But I think that glosses over it too much, doesn't it? That it's just, they're wrong, I'm right? Isn't there more to it than that?
When it comes to politics, it appeals and many times to our competitive nature. This is why so many times you'll hear former President Trump, who really knows how to talk to basal instincts, talk about being a winner and how someone else is a loser. I mean, he is talking about winning and losing because we like to win, right? We want to appear strong. But when it comes to the border, there's also greed. It's not just fear. It's not just like, I'm afraid of things. No. It's also, I want cheap labor, right? I want someone who's going to clean my pool and someone who's going to trim my trees, and I want all of the cheap labor that I benefit from because of the immigration we have coming across the border. And frankly, we want people to do some menial labor. We need farmhands. We need people to work in the stockyards. We need people to work in the slaughterhouses. Unemployment in America right now is below 4%. I don't think that if you were to suddenly take everyone who's in the country illegally and move them aside, it would solve the problems. This is why the bill that was proposed in Arizona, the E-Verify bill, is not going anywhere. Because if you actually crack down on the people benefiting from the migration, suddenly you have an economic crisis on your hand, even more than supplying some of the other humanitarian things.
Good luck getting those people to go out and do that, too, though.
They will not be doing it.
Yeah.
And then, as we've discussed, I think we also we want cultural diversity. We want influence from other cultures. We want this is going to sound trite, Cinco de Mayo. We want enchiladas. We want
Taco Tuesday.
We want Taco Tuesday. I mean, immigration does bring us a lot of perspective that we otherwise wouldn't have, and we relish in those things. So here we are. Whether it's on the radio, it's the bar, the kitchen table, we've got a vested interest. We fear for our personal safety. We're maybe concerned that our businesses are going to go broke without the labor. And then you add to that the politicians who are flaming the rhetoric because they get donations or political gain. That's their greed side, right? And then we have an issue that elicits that emotional response, as you said, emotionally charged. So why do we talk about it? We talk about it because you care.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.